Crazy, and this is the tutorial to model the bottle opener, part number 8DV4700306-1 variant, revision 1. There's a couple different versions of this. It's been floating around the college. I'm making some modifications, and when we are confident on the design, we'll go to a lettered revision. But this is the one for your class, and we'll see how it goes. This is a bottle opener. It looks like a piston rod somewhat, and we have two different ways to pry our bottle cap off with this, and you can turn it into a keychain, whatnot. Okay, so we're going to start in the front view, and we're going to model the outside perimeter of the part first. The part that makes up these two big circles, and the lines that connect them. We try to keep our initial sketches simple. It helps with change. And if we put our chamfers and fillets on, the majority of them at the end, then we're able to suppress those if we need to for machining. Alright, so let's go to Fusion, and you're going to save your file as the part number, revision, first initial, last name. Alright, make sure you save. That starts the auto saving for if you crash. Okay, so the first features we're going to make are those two circles with the lines connecting them. So we're going to do a sketch, and we're going to start off in the front view. Okay, that's our primary view. We're going to pick origin. We're going to draw a circle on it. Then we're going to draw another circle off to the right. You notice I'm not paying attention to the sizes. It's not important at the moment. We're going to make sure, we're going to put some relationships in. We're going to make sure those are horizontal to each other on their center line. Alright, now we need to dimension them. So our first one, if we look at our drawing, is 1 inch 350 thousandths. So let's dimension that one. 1.350. Okay. And our second one is 3/4 of an inch in diameter here. Let me see. So let's dimension that. 0.75 for 750. We now have them the correct diameters. Now, how far apart are they? The centers from here to here is 2 inch 250. So we're going to put that dimension in. Okay, next, let's look at our lines. We have two lines make up the outer side. They're 23 degrees apart, and they're 11.5 degrees off center line. Means it's proportional. Okay, so we're going to draw a line out in space, hit escape. Let's draw us another line out in space, hit escape. We're going to attach one end to the big circle, attach the opposite end to the, we didn't want that relationship. We're going to attach the small end of the circle to the small circle. Okay. Now we're going to put in some relationships. So we're going to go a tangent with the large circle. But if you look at the drawing, it's not tangent with the small circle. So make sure you don't put that relationship in by accident. And now let's draw a line. We're going to go from center of each of the circles, and then we're going to right click on that line and make a construction. This is going to be used for our angular dimensions. And so we're going to dimension from center line to the first one, and we're going to put in 11.5, which is our half of our angle, and then we can dimension to the other line and put in the 23 degrees, so that makes that proportional. This should be, if you look at your sketches, a fully constrained sketch. Now you'll probably be tempted to put fillets in and stuff, but especially with this non-tangent edge, you could lose the definition you need there. So I'm going to choose not to do that. Now let's trim away what we don't need. Don't need the inside of that circle. Don't need the inside of that circle. Don't need the inside of that circle. And you don't want to do that. I trimmed something I didn't want to, and we're going to trim inside of that circle. Okay, so this is the shape we're starting with. We're going to go finish sketch. Then we're going to do an extrude, and it's going to automatically select the sketch that you were working on. How thick is our part? Look at our drawing. In the top view, it says it's 300 thousandths thick. So we're going to go to there, and we're going to put in 0.3. And if we rotate this to 3D view, it now has thickness. Looks like from this angle, it looks like an exclamation point. There we go. Let's OK. Now we have our base shape. Now, let's look at our outside perimeter and see what we're missing. Okay, so we have this hammerhead looking shape. It is 700 thousandths wide by 1 inch 600 tall, and that feature is centered around what is origin in our model, or the center of this larger circle. This feature we have to create it a different way. It is right on center line in the top view, and it's 150 thousandths thick. So how we're going to approach this is we're going to actually model this mid-plane of this part. Okay, so to do that, we first need to make our mid-plane. We're going to go to construct, and we're going to make a mid-plane. This allows us to select two surfaces, and it'll automatically make a plane splitting it down the middle. So no matter what size, if we do have a design change and we change the thickness of our part, at least whatever's defined on this plane will always be on center line of its thickness. We're going to hit OK. Now we're going to create our sketch on that midplane. Let's draw a rectangle, and then we're going to draw a line from corner to corner so we can center this rectangle on the circle. So escape, so that we exit the line tool, right click on our line and make it a construction line, and then we're going to go from midpoint of the line to origin. Looks like I got extra selection there, but anyway, now this is centered on origin. Now let's give it its width. So our width is down here in our drawing was 700 thousandths, and then the height was 1 inch 600. 1.6. Okay, and that gives us our fully constrained sketch. We're going to hit finish sketch. We're now looking at it a 3D view, and we're going to do an extrude, and it's coming from that plane that's right in the middle. So what we're going to do is, instead of one side, we're going to do two sides, and then we're going to split the difference of our extrusion. So our extrusion was 150 thousandths thick. So that means we need to go a distance of half of that. 0.075, 750, that's 75 thou on one side and 75 on the other. Now we could have selected symmetric, then we could just put in the same value once. Guess that would have been smarter. Alright, let's hit OK. And we're not doing a cut. We want to change our type to a join, so it's going to make one body out of this, and we hit OK. There we go. We've got our rough shape of the outside of the part. Okay, now let's look back at our drawing. We're still looking in our primary front view. What do we have that would be a silhouette? So we've got this cavity here, which is made up of a bunch of arcs, and then we have this hole here. Now if we could make this a simple hole, or we could use the hole wizard. Problem with hole wizard, it doesn't put the countersink on both sides automatically. I'm going to come back and use a chamfer tool to make that. That way when we make the chamfer on one side, we'll make it on the other, and they'll be parametrically tied together. So let's do all the through features first. Let's just start with this hole here. We're going to go and we're going to sketch on our top plane. We're going to draw a circle, You're going to hover over the circle's edge, and if you bring to center, it should auto select the center to make it concentric. Now I have noticed in different iterations of Fusion this sometimes doesn't work. Not a big deal, you just come back and make it concentric after the fact. Okay, we got our circle, and our diameter is, the basic diameter is 520 thousandths, and it's a through hole. Goes all the way through the part. So we're going to dimension that, and it's going to be 0.52. We're going to finish sketch, and then we're going to go ahead and extrude that through. You're going to pick on the hole, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to go all the way through, and we're going to flip sides so it should look red like this, and then hit OK. We now have our through hole on the back side. Now let's take a look at this more complicated hole we have over here. We're going to do this as its own dedicated sketch. So what we have here is a large diameter, and that's a window through, but then we have a tooth here and another tooth on each side of the part. And the depths of those teeth are defined here. So we're going to end up needing to make cut features from both sides of the part in order to make this come out correctly. So let's start with what would be the edges of the top of our cutout here. So our first diameter is this 1" 10 dimension. Okay, so we're going to work large and work way down. So we got 1 inch 100 thousandths, and so we're going to sketch on the top plane, and we'll start off by making a circle. Starts at origin, and then we're going to dimension that, and it is 1.1, 1" 10. Okay, now we have this tooth feature in here that we need to draw on the right hand side because that's in the plane we're working in. And it has an inside diameter called to it, and its inside diameter is this 825 thou. Okay, so let's draw that circle. Okay, next we're going to construct the tooth that's going to cut through. So what we do is it's an angled line. We're going to go from center line to horizontal and create a line. And we're going to drag that back so that it intersects. Well, if you can't get it to intersect, have it intersect the outer circle. Okay, we're going to draw a series of lines. We're going to go from the small circle to the big circle, and then we're going to draw another one from small circle to big circle. We're then going to make a relationship with those two lines that they are coincident, the length of them are coincident with center of the big shape, okay, the circle. And then that way, no matter where they are, they're always radial to the center of the circle. We then need to dimension them. So the drawing has this at 30 degrees apart. So make sure you hit escape so you don't have things that you don't want selected. So I'm going to select the line, center line, I'm going to select the lower line, and we're going to put it at 15 degrees, and then we're going to dimension the two 30 degrees apart. So that gives us our clocking. Now let's trim away what we don't need. We don't need the rest of this center circle. And we don't need the inside of this circle. Now this little piece here, I now made my center line no longer connected to this arc. So my sketch is no longer constrained. So to fix that, it's pretty easy. Just click on that endpoint, make it coincident with your other arc, and look, that's now constrained. Okay, so this is our basic cookie cutter. We're going to cut most of the way through the part. So we're going to finish sketch, and this profile is going to cut through the part up until 100 thousandths from the bottom. Okay, and then we have to make another cut from the other side. So let's do that. We're going to do an extruded cut. We're going to do inside that profile. We're going to go negative 0.2 because our part is 300 thousandths thick. The flange on the other end is 100 thousandths thick. So we're leaving the material to allow that to exist. And we do want to cut, that's why I put it in a negative value and hit OK. Now we need to make another cut from the opposite side of the part that's very similar. So we're going to sketch on the other side of the part. And we're going to draw our two circles. This first one was 1 inch 100, and the other one was 825 thousandths. So we have our dimensions, and we're going to repeat what we did on the left side. So we're going to draw a couple lines. And then we're going to draw a line horizontal from center line. We're going to make that one a construction line. And we're going to take the bottom line and we're going to make, you're going to highlight the whole line. We're going to make it concentric with the center. Second one, we want to do the same thing. So that lines it up coincident so that it's radial. And then we put in our dimensions from top to bottom. This is 15 degrees, and then they're 30 degrees apart, centered on center line. Okay, we should now be able to go in and trim what we don't need. So we don't need that center piece. We don't need the center circle. We just have this tooth looking component. Okay, for this cut, we're going to do more or less the same thing. You're going to finish the sketch. Make sure you got a fully constrained sketch. We're going to do select the inner profile, and we're going to put in a negative 200. It's going to go in the opposite direction. It turns it into a cut, and it should cut away the other volume. So we now have our circle with our two teeth in place. I'm sure there's other ways to approach it, but that worked for me. I guess you could have cut the round circle and then extruded out one tooth and maybe patterned it to the other side, but that's how I approached this. Okay, so we've got the major features created except for the pocket that goes in the center here. So let's do that. Let's do our pocket in the center.